Welcome to The Leap with Japa, the podcast that bridges continents and connects stories. Join us as we dive into the vibrant world of international education, explore diverse cultures, and share the extraordinary journeys of students far from home. Whether you're dreaming of studying abroad or already embarking on this adventure through other means, Leap with Japa is your companion in navigating the exciting, challenging, and transformative world of global education. Let's leap into today's episode. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Leap with Japa. Welcome to another episode. Now, this particular one, I have been thinking about this one for a while. And this is based on questions from people back in Nigeria. And it's a standard question that people usually ask when you tell them about grad school and about, coming to study here. They say, oh, but I have a third class. Oh, I got a pass. My GPA is not good. I don't want to rock the boat. I have a great job. I don't think anyone wants to, essentially give me an admission. And it's one thing I thought about, when I started this. I go, that's true. I've had a lot of rejection. So I said, I might as well make it an episode and talk about what happens if you have a third class and you want to go to grad school in the US, in Canada, anywhere. And I decided to say, okay, yeah, let's talk about it. But there's one thing that most people do not know. A lot of people think I graduated with a first class. I went to college, university in Nigeria. I graduated in 2005 with a bachelor's in it's called BTech. So it's not a BSc, but a BTech in computer science and math. Everyone thought I probably graduated with a first class. No, I didn't graduate with a first class. I did not even graduate with a second class upper. I graduated with a second class lower. Now, that there's a range for this GPAs. First class, if you have a 4.5 over 5, it's a first class. That's the typical range that's the typical grade point for universities in Nigeria. Anything below a 4.5, but if you have it from, I think it's a 3.5 to a 4.5, you have a 2-1, which is a second class upper. Anything between 2.5 and 3.5 or less than 3.5 is a 2-2. You would assume that I probably had a 3.4. I graduated with a 2.57 out of 5 from Federal University of Technology, Mina, in Nigeria. I graduated with a very low 2.2, as they call it. It was pretty bad. A lot of people, if you're wondering why, because I had to pick and choose what to learn. I decided to concentrate on learning programming by myself and just get the minimum grades to graduate. So that's why you have that kind of GPA. But that never deterred me. One of the things you should understand is grad school in the US is a holistic process. They do not discriminate because you did not have a particular grade point. You need to bring in everything. As a person, one thing does not define you. So someone wants to meet you, someone's never met you, and they say he's 6 foot tall. You cannot just base someone's life based on his height or his color. He has other things. He has experiences. So that is why this episode is probably slightly personal to me, because I use the same grade point to get to the US. So you can as well. So to understand how this works, they provide some framework for evaluating students. So one of the first things you typically do when you apply for grad school is that you have to do what they call a transcript evaluation. Now, most universities outside of the US do not use the 4.0 grade point framework. They use 5, at least for Nigeria. For other countries, I think India uses a grade point of 10. I think some universities in Nigeria use 7, 10, I'm not sure. But wherever you went to college, university from, you have to convert all your all the classes you took to the US equivalency. So one of the first things I had to do was to send in my transcript to Spantran. Spantran is a company that does transcript evaluation. So I sent it in, and when they did the evaluation, so essentially they pick each class you've taken. They know it's either an upper division class or a lower division class, so they do the conversion. The conversion of my grade came down to 2.67 out of 4. And generally that is not bad for a US school, for a grad school. Grad school, once you have above a 2.5 out of 4, you're good. But that's just one part of the evaluation. Now, the evaluation platform that you use for transcript evaluation must be part of the National Association of Credential Evaluation Service. It's called NACES. WES is part of that. Spantran is one of that. So be aware that there are lots of evaluation companies out there. This is not an episode to endorse one of them. I'm just telling you what I used. Other considerations that are used for admissions. It's not just your transcript. So the transcript is just one factor. Other ones are like letters of recommendation. Do you have people that you've worked with in the past? Your supervisor, your companion, or not companion at least, your colleague, that's the word, your colleague. They can write recommendations letters for you. They can tell, they can speak to your character, they can speak to your work ethic, they can speak to a bunch of other things that will not be covered within a transcript evaluation. Another factor that is used are standardized tests. So GREs, GMAT, GREs for GMAT for business-related programs, GRE for others, TOEFL for English-related evaluations. Although I know that the standardized exams are being phased out, primarily because different people in different parts of the world have access to resources that allows them to prepare better. Because again, standardized test there's a technique in passing standardized tests. They say it's not a standard way of gauging people, which I agree with, but it is one of the other factors that it can use in granting you admission. So that's one factor. So letter recommendation, standardized test. Another thing that they look at is your personal statement. What exactly do you want to use the grad school for? And do not discount this, because you can use your statement of purpose to outline your background, to talk about factors that probably contributed to why you did not get a perfect score in grades, factors that would outline how resilient and how you have tenacity to push through and power through bad backgrounds, for example, and motivations for what you want to do with the grad school afterwards. So for me, I had essentially a plan. I wanted to use grad school as a stepping stone to understand how to carry out bodies of research that I can then apply to other things. So I had to outline. Another thing with statement of purpose, it shows that you can broadly come up with a plan. It also shows that you've done research into why you want to do what you want to do. So things like, hey, I want to do this program because I've seen what this professor does. I have understood the direction of research, and I want to add to that body of research. So that's another factor to consider when doing statement of purpose. One last factor that they consider as well is work experience and internship. Where have you worked? What are the effects you've had in the workplace? What are the things that you've carried out that is worth noting and showing to potential admissions evaluators? Also, internships. Where did you work? What was the outcome of your internship? Who did you affect? What did you contribute? Did you come up with a paper? For people in Nigeria and people in other places that you might be, your work experience also matters. It goes hand in hand. Your work experience shows that despite having this kind of grade point, you were able to get other things done for yourself. You're able to get a job. You're able to contribute this way. It's a holistic evaluation. So, in conclusion, I hope this has given you like an insight into knowing fully well that you do not allow such things to kind of derail you from wanting to apply. Another key factor in this, while being at on this topic, is most people that have the HND, the Higher Diploma, the Higher National Diploma, specifically from Nigerian countries. And typically I also get this thing where they go, oh, but I have a diploma. It's the same thing. Your diploma, when you were taking your diploma, you took classes in them. And I have seen instances, again, don't quote me wrong, don't quote me directly, but I have seen people who sent in their transcript evaluation for their HND. And the evaluators look at the school you went to. So that's one of the things you do during the evaluation. They look at the degree that the institution offers. They look at the courses that you've taken, and they do a conversion. I have seen so many times people who sent in their HND and their evaluation evaluates to a bachelor's degree in the US. So if you have a HND, it doesn't also disqualify you. The most important step in figuring out if this is for you is to do a transcript evaluation. It would open your eyes. It would open up the opportunities for you to explore. So if you have a HND, grad school in the US is not far from you, because that HND could naturally convert and become a bachelor's evaluated credential in the US. And you can essentially not worry about, I didn't get a bachelor's from Nigeria. So HND, who are probably listening, should also consider doing a transcript evaluation. Once you do a transcript evaluation, you have a basis, you have a starting point. So, to conclude, I want to motivate people not to be disheartened by their undergrad GPA. Do not be disheartened by whether you have a HND. I didn't go to university. It doesn't matter. One thing I want to emphasize is you have to be determined. You have to be passionate about what you want to do, and you have to be willing to take extra steps to achieve your goals. Because, right here, it's all about how much you put in. You get what you only get out what you put in, into the whole situation. So I hope this has kind of given you like a reset so that you can consider applying for that grad school with your HND or with your third class, and even with your pass. Doesn't hurt. Just do that transcript evaluation. I hope this has encouraged you as much as as encouraged me. I most certainly have been encouraged, because I did not allow my 2.57 out of 5 to discourage me from applying to grad school, and it's turned out well. I graduated again 2005. This is 2023, 17 years later. It's been a great journey, so I hope this would push you to evaluate your interest in grad school in the US, and to try. You only can try, and it will work. Willingness to drive yourself and push that extra step is largely very rewarding, and I can guarantee you there is no other place, or at least for me, than the US that would gladly reward your efforts with golden opportunities. Have a nice one. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Leap with Japa. I hope it brought you valuable insights and stories that resonate with your journey. If you have any thoughts to share, questions, or want to send a voice note with your feedback, please visit our website at leapwithjapa.io. You will find a contact form there. I would love to hear from you and feature your voice in a future episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform, some of which are Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Player FM. Your subscriptions and reviews help us grow and reach more listeners, and I truly appreciate each one of them. Also, check out our merch store on leapwithjapa.io website for some cool t-shirts and hoodies. Perfect for showing your support for the show. Stay tuned for our next episode, where we'll dive even deeper into the experiences and challenges of international education and careers. Until then, keep leaping forward, and thanks again for being part of the Leap with Japa community.